top cocker. Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Yeah. Oh, actually, just a reminder, I've got to turn my phone off because I know it will ring. Are we rolling, bro?
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. Well, this is just our little, what do we call it? Zero segment. This is our warm-up segment. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of the warm-up segment. It's right next to the rolling start. So sometimes you just get a rolling start. You just jump into the podcast. Mm-hmm. No, I think I'll do the intro today.
Sounds good.
I'll do the intro?
Yeah,
do the intro. Yeah, but like you were saying, like, man, I'm a fucking coffee fiend.
Coffee is a lifestyle.
Yeah,
it is.
It is totally a lifestyle. I'm sure I have it coursing through my veins. I cannot function without caffeine.
How many coffees do you have a day? Just out of curiosity.
Depending on the day, it's different, but at least 3.
Yeah, right.
At least 3.
Yeah, I have about 2 in the morning and 1 later on in the afternoon, just to keep me going.
Well, I do this weird. I've got a weird ritual. So in the morning, I'll do like an espresso.
Yep.
I'll do 2 espressos.
Yes.
Right. So I'll do 2 cups. 2 cups of a long pour espresso, and then I'll make an instant coffee, and then I pour the espresso in the instant coffee.
Yeah. Right.
And I do that as my traveller on the way to work.
Yeah.
And then I do the shot of coffee.
Oh my goodness.
Sometimes I'll do that shot. So I'll make 2 instants. So I'll do an instant in the traveller, and then I'll do an instant in a mug, and pour both shots into each.
How have you not had a heart attack?
Yeah. So that's how I start the day. Yeah. I start the day charged.
Yeah.
So yeah, technically I have 4 coffees in the morning.
And how much sleep do you get at night?
I get about 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I think you need to get sleep, but sometimes I burn the midnight oil, and it's on different things. Sometimes I just if I'm in workaholic mode when I'm editing, if I'm doing writing music or writing scripts for movies or just editing content that I've made, sometimes it could be up until 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
When I'm on a roll, I just don't. When I'm rolling, I don't stop.
Yeah.
Because when you stop, it's hard to start again.
That's right. It's just basically just getting back in there and getting back into that motion. You know what it's like.
Yeah, totally, man. Sometimes you just got to sometimes keep that momentum.
Yeah.
But during that phase, I'll drink a beer, have a coffee, smoke a spliff, have a coffee.
Yes.
And it's like
I love it.
Well, sometimes I feel like you've seen in The Simpsons. You know how when Homer gets that lobster.
Yes.
And he's pouring like the salt into the water, and he's like, oh no.
Yeah, trying to get the balance going.
Yeah. Oh, for God's sake.
Where's that coming from?
That's coming from that phone. No, well, my phone's on silent.
I was going to say, where's your phone on silent?
Man, look, okay, I'm
How many phones do you have?
I'm an Apple Mac fucking crazy dude.
Oh no, you're one of them people.
Yeah,
Don't talk to me.
So I've got my iPhone, I've got the Mac.
Yeah, you got
this
the
whole
works.
podcast is like done on Mac. Even this monitor is Mac.
Is that watch an Apple Watch?
It's an Apple Watch, right? So this synchronizes everything. Like I can start my sprinklers in my yard with this watch. I can go, put the taps on. I fucking love technology, man.
Technology's advanced so much.
Yeah, man. Like I can answer my phone, and plus I've got the earbuds as well, so I'm usually plugged in all the time.
Yeah, of course.
Constantly plugged into the internet. I have to be because the business that I run is it's a social media business.
Yeah, that's right.
So you got to constantly be on social media.
Absolutely. Well, these days you need to, man.
But then then there's the junk food though. There's the junk food stuff like shit posts. I love shit posters. You shit posters that are out there, I fucking love ya.
Have you seen the Simpsons shit posting?
No, I haven't seen that one.
I'll invite you to these pages. They're great.
Yeah, man, I'd really dig that. I like the Simpsons.
Yeah.
I'm a member of a few Simpsons pages for memes.
And YouTube as well. There's a few channels there. The Mendoza posting, which is great.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I'd be definitely interested in that.
The lemon posting too.
Yeah, okay. Oh, well, look, I think we warmed up. I should roll us into the show. What do you reckon?
Let's do it.
And welcome to the Pagey Train. Today I have on the show with me Matt Sermon, otherwise known as Metal Matt.
How we doing?
Yeah, good, man. Good. So just to let our audience know, you've just kicked off yet another podcast on top of other podcasts that you've done before.
Absolutely.
And it's currently the Couch Surfing with Metal Matt.
That's right. So it's been running for about a month and a half now. I'm quite backed up at the moment with interviews, which is good.
Yeah.
I'm well ahead of myself. I came up with this idea probably about two and a half months ago. Just wanted to do something a little bit different. I've done online stuff before, but I wanted to take a bit more of a, intimate approach with the bands. Have just one guest there of the band. Talk a bit more about the band itself, their history and what sort of releases they've got.
So you talk about their content and their experiences in bands.
Exactly. It's just a bit more of a, It's formal but informal as
Yeah,
well. With
yeah.
way
I
of
think
presenting,
there is a bit of that because I've watched a few of your episodes.
Yeah.
A big shout out to Andy Social, bass player.
Yes.
From Lord.
Yep, he's a good
And-
mate of mine. So.
Yeah, he's a really cool dude.
He is.
And he's obviously a podcaster as well. So he
That's
does the
right.
Anti-Social
Yep.
podcast.
Yep, which is a fantastic podcast. He's done a lot of interviews as well, as have you. as
Yeah,
well,
no,
so-
he's up to like 250.
Yeah.
He's up to 250 interviews.
He's had a lot of interesting guests on there.
Yeah,
like
man.
Scientists to God knows who. You know?
Yeah, one of the coolest ones I listened to of his was Nats. What do you reckon?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been trying to get Nats. What do you reckon? If you're watching this show, man, I contacted your agent.
Do you know I used to know that guy back in the days, right? Like years ago.
Hmm.
Years ago when he was a Newtown boy in Newtown hardcore bands. He's a top guy.
Yeah.
Just watching him now, just being the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to see.
Well, it's going to be pushing that cooking stuff towards the more metalheads.
Yeah, totally making it more down to earth and just a bit more real. No, I met him at a underground rave
Yeah, right.
in Marrickville like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
yeah.
Underground rave.
I think
Was that was it Maggotsville? That they used to have a venue out there called Maggotsville.
I think that might have been it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's lots of bean bags and
Yes.
pillow. Yeah,
There
that's
used to
the
be
place.
There used to be a metal venue as well, but it
Yeah.
turned into a rave venue as well.
Yeah, it turned into a rave venue. Yeah, it's right around the corner from the factory.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one.
So I met him there. He was doing a burnout on a road bike
Yeah, right.
at the front entrance.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't mean in the driveway.
Just at the front entrance.
At the
before
front
you- before
entrance
you
of the
walk in.
door. Yeah. So I'm like, whoa, who's this crazy cat?
Wow.
Yeah, so that's how
Well, in that case.
and I went up and talked to him, and we were friends for the night.
Yep.
But I didn't see him since, and then I saw him doing like boat shows and like
Yep.
doing these tour shows. And I was one of his first 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
And now
I
look,
was-
he's up to like a million.
Millions now. I think
Really?
I think he's like 2.5 million followers, something ridiculous like that.
It's crazy, eh?
Yeah, no, it's good to see though. It's good to see. But yeah, well, speaking of metal, because he's a drummer, I think.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, he's a drummer
in a
in
hardcore band.
yeah in a hardcore band. But why metal for you, Matt? What drives you to metal?
That's a really tough question, to be honest.
It's a broad one, I know.
I was a little grunge kid when I was younger, so I listened to like Nirvana and Stone Temple Pilots and all that stuff.
Alice in Chains.
Yeah, Alice in Chains. So I really got into Alice in Chains a little bit later on. I thought they were a bit too heavy for me. At first.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, that's a different thing. My first discovery of metal was Pantera, and just hearing Dimebag's riffs. It was
Yeah.
like the most amazing thing. Watching Video Smash Hits on Channel 7 back in
Yeah, I remember
1994.
that. Yeah, I remember that.
It was about 9 or 10 in the morning. The V host, whoever he was, he got the whole band's name wrong, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll check it out anyway. And then I just hear that riff, that intro riff to Unbroken, and it just blew me away. And that's what metal's all about, man. The passion, the sound, and just the energy behind. That's why I fell in love with it, and to this day, it's just my favorite music style. So
Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know why I got into metal. I don't know how it happened. I listened to it a lot, and in the schoolyard, I'd like always do like voice impressions.
yes,
And I had this guitarist friend of mine say, "Man, do you want to be in a band? Like, you're really good at like moving your voice around. Perhaps you can do metal."
Yeah.
And then I started doing it, and that's where I fell in love with it. Because I had already listened to it. Like I was into like Tool.
Yeah.
I was into Typo Negative.
That's right.
Yeah, some really
Dark sort of sound
dark sort of
bands.
sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and dark themes.
Yeah.
A lot of dark themes. I like but I was into the lyrics though. So when I look at Marilyn Manson, I was into the poetic sort of lyrics that they have.
Yeah.
And I used to, when the parents weren't home, be singing into a hairbrush in front of the mirror in the coolest get up I could have, and they would come home and catch me, and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
That's right.
But when I auditioned for a band, my first time I auditioned for a band, and started doing guttural vocals, I fell in love.
Yeah, of course.
That was I would already liked metal.
Yeah.
But I fell in love at that point, and I guess for me as a vocalist. It's about like because I was always envious of the guitarists.
Yeah.
Because they got this guitar and they always looking sexy and making these fucking awesome sounds with their.
I can't help it though. Yeah, it's just
It's just part of the persona,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If you can wail, you can wail,
mate,
right?
that's true.
All right. But for me, I started to learn that, well, my guitar's inside me.
Yeah, right.
And when you do guttural vocals, it's a full body commitment.
Yes.
It's very enduring.
Yep.
And that's where I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the commitment, the body commitment, and the passion.
Yes.
You got to.
It's important, very important stuff there. So.
Yeah, man. I call it when I was in band, around in my late 20s, early 30s. I was in a band called Alpha Degenerate.
Yeah.
We even played in Penrith with that band.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the Top Bar, and we did Tatterstalls.
Yeah,
so
right.
we've done two venues there with
cool.
that band.
Yeah.
We played all over Sydney. It was a really cool band. I've lost my thought about that. What was I talking about? I'd look for my dark seed.
Yeah.
And I'd go to my dark seed, and then I'd let it flourish. So it creates this persona, this character.
Yeah, of course.
It's a piece of you, but it's not fully representative of you. The guy that's singing on stage is not the same guy that you talk to.
That's right.
Yeah, they're different people. Yeah. So that's the other thing I liked about it, was the masquerade of it all.
It's funny you mentioned that about vocalists. My favourite vocalist of all time is Mike Patton.
I fucking love Mike Patton,
Oh
man.
my God, who doesn't? If you don't like Mike Patton, just fuck off.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. So.
I mean, he's beyond a hired gun.
Yeah.
Like, because in the music industry, you would have like and I've got a guitarist in our band that does it. Plays in multiple bands.
Yeah.
Just a hired gun.
Of course,
They play everywhere.
Yeah.
In fact, like I've done shows with Francis, and he's like been on the bill 3 times on the one night.
Yeah, right.
So all the bands that he plays in were playing the same night.
Yeah.
And but Mike Patton, he's beyond that. Because a hired gun will go between bands.
Yeah.
But he just like sort of starts bands and then becomes a part of big projects.
And I don't know how he does it too with all these projects. He's battling like 6-7 projects at one point and doing all the touring as well and recording. The guy's a workaholic, and I have so much admiration for that guy. I think he's got one of the most amazing vocals ever.
Yeah, he's
I'll straight up say ever. Like, he's the best vocalist ever.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Look, I would say I'm also a big fan of Maynard, obviously. I'd say I don't know if you could have the best vocalist ever. I would say because when people say that, sometimes it comes from a point of view of talented.
Yes,
they're the most talented ever.
Talented, yeah.
But then you could look at it another way. The one that's impacted my life the most.
Yeah, it becomes, if it's more personal, I understand.
Yeah, so when I look at it from a more personal perspective, I would swing towards Maynard. But when I look at it as someone as an individual artist being in multiple projects, that it's just an insane person. Mike Patton. Yeah, totally. But with that said, though, there's other vocalists I look to, like Chino,
of course,
from Deftones.
Yeah.
Because it was Chino and Maynard. When I listened to their music, it made me as a guttural vocalist, it made me realise I don't always have to be gritty.
Yeah,
I can be clean sometimes and do the transitions. And I started experimenting with transitions.
Yeah, cool.
And I used to do a lot of skateboarding in my time, and I would make a reference between doing like rail slides and doing and then transitioning into the bowl.
Yeah,
I find that very similar to vocals for some reason in my mind.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept. That's very interesting.
Yeah, because when you're carving, you're doing the heavy vocal, and you go up to the top of the coping and then grind, and then you're doing clean, and then you transition back into being heavy again.
Yeah, cool.
So
that's interesting.
Because you've got that momentum of heavy, and then you've got this harmonious sort of calmness, and then back into chaos again. And learning how to do those transitions, because you will end up breaking up in your voice. You're like, oh, that's not entertaining. No one's going to like that. Yeah. So you've got to learn how to literally transition and make a clean seam between those two voices.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's what got me into metal.
Yeah.
It's something that inspired me from a poetry point of view as a writer. And then from the ultimate tritone as well. There's just something about the sound of metal that draws me to it.
Well, that's what drew me into it first off. Like, lyrics came a little bit later on because I was younger and stuff. I was going by the sound and what was really good in my ears and stuff. And hearing the heavy sort of sound, this sound I've never heard before in my life, coming from someone that used to listen to bands like Fine Young Cannibals and Salt and Pepper and stuff like that. And,
hey, I like Fine Young Cannibal.
Yeah, do you like Salt and Pepper?
Yeah, I like the Salt and Pepper. Yeah,
I've got their pop toys at home.
Oh, do you?
Hey, come on, those girls more gangster than any other.
Yeah, man.
These days, man.
I listen to everything though, but my heart is with metal.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Especially Pantera, right?
Yeah,
Pantera is something that gets inside you.
they are.
They really, especially Dimebag, the way like this open A tuning,
Yeah.
and the ridiculous fucking riffs that dude did were just off the wall.
Have you seen Pantera live before?
I don't think so.
I saw him in 2001, and Dimebag flicked a pick out to the crowd. I call it.
Oh, you got Dimebag's pick.
That's 2001. I've still got it in my little box.
What was that at a Pantera show?
That
or?
was at a Pantera show.
Yeah.
It was the Horden Pavilion with Corrosion of Conformity and Segression, I think it was.
Yeah, okay.
By Jig School. Just to get there early, so sneaked out of
well, I got to
fourth period, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I've got to be careful saying that because sometimes I say, like, no, I haven't seen that band live, and then a mate will say to me, no, I was at that show with you, dude.
Yeah.
You've seen, like, someone asked me, have you seen Lamb of God?
Yeah.
I'm going, no, I wish I'd seen them. And then a mate of mine was in the room and was like, we went to Lamb of God, like, 2 years ago, dude. I'm like, oh, yeah. Yeah, there was at Luna Park, and, you know, we were off our head. And, that's what
I was going to say, it could be a number of things there. It's usually the alcohol or whatever consumption.
Yeah, high on life.
High life.
Yeah.
That's right. High on life.
Taking deep breaths.
Diet water.
Diet water.
It's that, man. The hard stuff.
Yeah, that's where I came up with a crazy idea, right? Powdered water.
Yes.
Yeah, just add water.
Oh, that's like this. That's broke me.
That's terrible. I know. I'm shocking. I'm awful.
I love it.
I'm awful at that.
Keep it going, man. That's
Yeah. So let's talk about the Western Sydney or Sydney metal scene, because you've been like to how many shows? Like every time I see you on Facebook, like pre-COVID, of course.
Yeah.
You were always at metal shows.
Yes. Yep.
So what do you think of the Sydney scene for metal?
Jesus, yeah.
That's another hard one, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's put me on the spot here. So I watched the Sydney scene grow since I was going gigs at the age of 16, and there's been a lot of incredible bands come and go, which is quite sad to see. I think right now, especially since the whole COVID stuff has happened, every band is just going out in full force at the moment. So there is a heap of gigs happening in Sydney at the moment. Unfortunately, there's not as many venues at the moment, which is quite sad to see. I've watched a lot of venues over the past, how long am I now, 36, past 18, 20 years, just fizzle away, unfortunately. So that's probably where the major flaw is at the moment with live music in Sydney, is the lack of venues. So many bands, but lack of venues. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, there is a lot of bands out there, man.
Yeah.
I've gigged with a lot of bands. But like you say, I've noticed that it's been like a wave.
Yeah.
It's like, or maybe it's tidal. Like the wave comes in and the wave goes out. Wave comes in, wave goes out.
Yes, that's right.
So I've watched venues like hold on, like you've got things like the Crowbar which used to be Baldface Stag.
Yep,
so it's kind of the same venue.
Yeah.
Then you had the Valve Bar, but before, like the Valve Bar Sydney, not Valve Bar Tempe.
Yeah.
So Tempe was a whole different thing.
That was a whole different thing. It was a Harp Hotel as well before that. So
yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Big shout out to Greg actually.
Greg's a legend, man.
Yeah, I think he's getting the Valve back up and running again. I don't know what venue yet though.
Oh,
he's got the Valve.
I'll tell you what, I've got so many memories there of the Argent Court Hotel, and I want to just give a massive shout out to Greg. Over the years, that guy's pushed so many local bands, man. Like I'll give him the.
Yeah, no, totally, man. Like he's allowed me to record and film my gigs.
Yeah.
At different Valve venues. We've done it at Tempe. We've done it at and some of it was a bit on the scene as well. Some of it was for TV and whatnot. And he was just cool with it. And he always made sure I got a good recording out of the desk.
Yeah, good.
Which you don't get out of any other venue.
No.
Like you can ask for it, but they'll give you a shit fucking track that's useless. You know, like I may as well just done a room recording, dude.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what I do. I usually record my gigs, and I use a recorder like a H4 Zoom and just record the sound that way. But yeah, he would allow us to do like bring in a whole film crew, like 4 camera shoot.
Yeah, right.
And you know, and just own the place as long as we left it as we found it.
Yeah,
he didn't care. He just didn't care, man. He was a really supportive guy. Because a lot of people I've heard people bag out the Valve Bar before. Like,
there was a lot of that going on, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I don't know why you'd bag out. I don't understand it. As a musician, I don't understand it.
Shouldn't the scene just be all sticking together, and just all supporting each other? Like, I don't know where all these. I won't even go there with the whole promoter war.
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about, though. That's what I'm talking about, Matt. Like,
Yeah, it's pathetic.
you got people creating access, creating platforms, and then there's 30% of the people out there is like, oh no, fuck that place, or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, hold on, man. These guys are holding the flag for access to music in Sydney, of all cities in the fucking world. It's the hardest city to play in.
Yes, absolutely. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Fucking insane. And as I was saying before, like the Bald-Faced Stagton and the Crowbar, but then the Lewisham stopped doing metal, and they got a really good stage there too.
Yeah, right.
But then you got the Lansdowne has held out.
Lansdowne's held out.
They definitely held out.
Yep, you got the Vanguard still going too. There's a couple of other venues like Mosh Pit.
Mosh Pit in Newtown.
Yep.
And you got then there's other ones that look that pop up like the Hideaway.
Yep.
You got these other venues. The other one, what was it? The High on High, I think it was called. Can't remember.
Ooh.
Somewhere in Roselle, I think it is.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it.
Vaguely know what you're talking
Yeah, but that one's just popped up recently.
Yeah.
Because I'm always on the eye for, got my eye out for gigs. I'm always sniffing out, like, can I get on a bill? And do I have to start a show?
Roscoe, you know what we need right now? We need metal bands, or rock bands, back out there. Like, what is going on? Let's talk about the Tassels Hotel.
Oh, dude.
Come on, that is just like...
Well, there's a series of unfortunate events. You probably know about a few of them. We had the guys from Dragon... recordings, Dragon Productions.
They're out in Penrith, aren't they?
Yeah. They're in Jemison Town. Those guys, they were supplying the gear, and there was this one fellow that was the promoter who was running shows in Penrith, but he passed away.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's why. You remember the shows were picking up in Penrith, and they just stopped.
They stopped, yeah.
Yeah, because the fellow that was organising them passed away.
That's what happened. Okay,
Yeah.
So I was hearing something completely different, just about noise complaints and stuff. Like, when you hear things through the grapevine, it was just like, that's a little bit weird why things have just stopped here. I'm thinking, it's probably noise complaints. And someone goes, it was noise complaints by the units there. I said, come on, those units have been there for years, man. Have you seen Union Road?
Yeah, that's
it's just
right.
the dinosaurs, man.
Yeah, no, it was nothing to do with that. It was all to do with the guy that was the driving force of that.
That's sad.
Passed away, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was unfortunate. But look, even in my band since Alpha Degenerate, we've played a couple of times in Penrith as well.
Yeah.
And when you go to like places like the Crowbar or it's when you go into the city, sometimes it's hard. It depends on the venue actually. When it's a big open venue, it's hard to get Sydney crowds involved.
Yeah, of course.
But when you're in like we used to be called Viper. I think it was called the Viper Bar. I can't remember the name of it. Oh, now it was Blink at one point. It's the same place where the Valve was in the Agincourt, right?
Yeah.
So that was
the Viper before the Agincourt?
Yeah, it was the Viper.
Yeah.
Because you go downstairs and it's this really close, tight-knit room, really easy to fill. Yeah. And it's easy to get a crowd going in there because like, they've got bars that you can hang off the roof and like swing off and spit beer all over people. They love it.
Yeah.
But you go to other venues and you just get the folded arms and the nodding heads.
Yeah.
You're like, that's cool. I'm glad you guys are liking it, but it makes some fucking noise, man. So I find the factory people are more receptive. Yeah. Factory theatre people, crowds are more receptive. But I've got to tell you this, though. The most receptive crowds I've ever played in front of are in Penrith.
That's true.
The Penrith crowd is the best.
There's something about the Westie crowd, like they're just getting into it. They're just, their passion... Just everything around.
Well, I think it might be as well. They're hungry for entertainment.
Yeah.
Because like when
nothing out there.
Out here in Penrith, you've got to get on a train to go to the inner city, or to the outer rim of the inner city to go to a venue. Yeah, and it's a big hassle.
That's true.
Because and don't get me wrong, like when there's cool shows on, I'll go and do that. Because you do it for your mainliners. Like there's Faith No More's coming out soon.
Yep, that's right.
I'll be going to that fucking gig,
Absolutely,
right? Yeah. But when you've got local bands playing like down the road where you can get an Uber home, you're more likely to go to the show. Yeah. And I think that's what people from Penrith are hungry for. But you just need that driving force. You need a promoter to do it. Yeah. And to talk to venues in Penrith, like I remember at Tatterstall's, because they have a change of guard, right? Because the manager will change. Yeah. And whatever the manager changes, depending on what they like, will depend on what performances happen there or don't happen at all. Yeah. I remember at the Top Bar, they had a really cool manager, and they just were setting up shows.
I remember that too. They're having gigs there every week.
Every week
for a while. I mean, even two gigs a week. I was noticing. So.
Oh, one of the shittest venues you can play at. Like the shittest stage. There's a pillar right in the middle Like because when you're on stage, you've got this big pillar in the middle.
Yeah.
And it's really like a pool room, dining room with a corner.
Yeah, pretty much.
But that would be packed out, and people would be wearing, black leather.
Yep.
And they got the studs out. They're wearing like their favorite, their band vests and representing, right?
Of course, yeah.
And they'd come out and love your show, and then you have a beer with them afterwards, and they're like, yeah, thanks for fucking playing, man. We want more shows.
Yeah.
And but that's depending on the manager.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a good manager, like I remember at Tatterstall's, they changed management. And when the guy changed over, he's like, I don't like this metal stuff.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But yeah, we had King Parrot played there, man.
Man, when would King Parrot ever come back here to Penrith? You know, like, when would they ever come here to Penrith? It's crazy.
Well, it's all based on that promoter.
Yeah.
That promoter got King Parrot here.
Yeah, right.
So we don't have someone pushing that.
It's the same one that probably got Regurgitator and all the other bands as well.
Yeah.
Remember the upstairs area?
Just pull that mic in a bit closer to you, man.
Yeah.
There you go.
Remember the upstairs area as well as, it used to be the block. So the block upstairs, they had Fire's Murder was playing there.
Yeah.
And a couple of bands were playing there as well. And then that just stopped. So they had like 3 or 4 gigs there, and then
I've been thinking about that venue for like over 2 years.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking that Penrith can run like a festival.
Yeah.
Run like a 12 bands over 12 hours.
Yeah.
Start at midday, finish at midnight.
Yep.
And like put younger bands on in the day.
Yeah.
Put more seasoned established bands on later in the day, and then put your crowd pleasing headliners on at the end.
Well, they had a Justin Fest a couple of years ago with Unwritten Law playing there at the I think it was just an acoustic set of Unwritten Law and a few other punk bands playing. It was like 12 bands playing out for the whole day. You had 2 stages happening. That was crazy. I miss those days, man. So
they're really good though,
yeah.
And it's really good for the town. It's really good for the youth of the town too, because and don't get me wrong, like Penrith has been going through this nice uplift at the moment. Like, the bars have changed, and even bars that exist in Penrith have changed.
Yeah.
They've changed their posture and how they market themselves.
Of course, yeah.
And it's been a breath of fresh air because it's not such a sticky floor pubs that you go into anymore.
Yep.
They're more boutique in nature.
Yeah, they've done themselves up a little bit. So
yeah, they've polished it up. Yeah.
I'm noticing live stuff slowly coming back. The Penrith, like they've got karaoke back now at the Tassels. That's always fun.
Do they?
Yeah, on Wednesday night. I went there on Wednesday night. So
okay.
I gave a bit of my usual metal mat show.
Do they have a good selection there?
No, it's terrible.
It's terrible?
Absolutely terrible.
It's hard to find a good selection for karaoke.
My gosh, like I wanted to sing Faith No More.
Yeah.
Right? I just saw Epic. I was just like, do you have any more? That's the only thing that we have. Like, okay.
You only got that, and that's the weirdest song they've got.
And they had three Metallica songs. Have a guess what they were.
Master of Puppets.
No.
Didn't have that. Okay. I got no idea.
Enter Sandman.
Enter Sandman, of course. One.
And
yeah.
Nothing else matters.
Nothing else fucking matters. Of
to
course.
be honest, like they are 3 of their most generic songs. People can beg to differ, but I really believe they're 3 of the most generic songs by.
They are totally.
They are overplayed and stuff. Like Metallica are an amazing band, but those 3 songs.
Yeah, Metallica's Metallica, but that's just their. That's their. They were the songs that grabbed people when they were 14.
Yeah, that's right.
Back in the 90s, you know. Yeah, I don't know though. Like, would I go to a Metallica show? Yeah, I'd go.
Yeah.
But would I be sitting at a bar going, "Oh man, I wish this Metallica song was on right now"? Yeah. It doesn't really happen with Metallica.
Doesn't happen with Metallica.
Like, you respect, Metallica's Metallica.
Yeah.
Right. But I never hanker to listen to one of their songs.
Really?
I go, I need to listen to this. You know how you get a hankering to listen to songs? Yeah. I don't think that's ever happened for me with Metallica.
I get that a few times because I'm going, I want to hear Dyer's Eve or Disposable Heroes. I just whack it on.
Yeah. Okay.
And do you like Saint Anger?
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah, no, not Saint Anger. It was not Saint Anger, because that was out of the documentary that they did.
Some Kind of Monster.
Some Kind of Monster.
Yeah.
No, it was what was it? Death Magnetic.
Yes, that was good.
I didn't mind Death Magnetic. Yeah. That was all right.
Saint Anger. I waited about 9-10 hours in line at Utopia Records for that album. Right? So excited because this is before Facebook and MySpace and whatever it was, before all the online crap. They had this website that was hyping it up, and like in the magazines they were hyping it up, saying this is the best thing they've done since Kill 'Em All or Ride the Lightning, and I was about 19 and I was like, this is cool, that could be right, So I went down there. We ended up getting down there 9-10 hours later. And they're playing this album over the top of the speakers. And I'm like, what is this crap?
Yeah, it's like, oh, fuck, it's Metallica.
Yeah, so I waited 10 fucking hours for this goddamn album.
Well, you can't have everything be a hit, though.
So I've still got this original packaging. I use it as a beer coaster sometimes.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
it's got some decent stains on it.
It does.
That's what you want.
It's around, so.
Yeah, it was the same with, like, because back in the day for me, I got into music as a young teenager in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And actually earlier than that, I was listening to Guns N' Roses at about age 9.
Yeah.
Which my parents fucking hated.
Did they?
Yeah, because it was like, because no one else was swearing in music at that time of history.
Of course, yeah.
Swearing in music was like, ooh,
Yeah, it's evil.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
This is going to change the face of the earth.
Yeah.
It was really taboo.
Yeah.
But the songs were really catchy. Like, I really like them, but again though, I don't think I go. Yeah, I can really listen to November Rain right now.
Yeah,
it just doesn't happen.
No, Strange is better. Strange is a way better song than Rain. I love Estranged. It's a cool song.
Well, I like their album I like is Appetite for Destruction.
Yeah,
that's their signature album for me.
Night Train, Mr. Brownstone.
Yeah, Night Train, man, Mr. Brownstone. And Paradise City.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But again, though, you don't go. Actually, I tell a lie.
Yeah.
Actually, I would probably listen to Night Train and go, yeah, I like that song. I want to listen to that. Or Rocket Queen, actually.
Rocket Queen's a cool song.
Yeah, Rocket Queen's pretty good. But that's what I grew up on.
Yeah.
So that was more like because they were almost glam rock, not quite glam rock.
They were a little bit different from all the bands that were coming out.
Yeah.
So you're different from Poison and Motley Crue and Rat and all those other glam bands. They had a bit more. I don't know what it was. It was something a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, it was Axl's voice.
Yeah.
I think.
And
Slash as well.
Yeah.
A very unique playing style. And, a really cool hat.
Yeah.
Probably
that
probably
hair,
helps.
The sunnies, the works, man.
Yeah, it probably helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I got into it, being an early teenager, like I said, I moved into other things like, I was into Caius as well.
Yeah, Caius, cool.
I love Caius, man. And that's stuff that I would practice to learn how to sing.
There's rumours going around there and talks about a reunion, but I think there's one person that's having a bit of an issue with it. I think it's Josh Holmes is having a bit of an issue with it, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, you know what they say about ringers, so,
Well, I'm semi-ranger.
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 Well, it turns out I'm a ringer. I didn't know I was a ringer. Look, I grew my hair.
Yeah.
And I've got auburn in my hair.
Auburn. Oh,
I've got auburn.
I've
got auburn. I've got grey. I've got blonde.
Jeez, you're multicoloured.
Yeah. I'm like a fucking rainbow.
I just wish I had hair. I used to have the nicest hair when I was younger.
Well, that's why I have mates that say grow it while you've got it.
Yeah, that's right.
So I just keep growing it.
What happened to me, I started... who cares what I'm saying right now? I started bowling at the age of 26, 27.
Yeah.
I grew a skullet. A skullet.
What's a skullet?
Yeah, it's like, Hulk Hogan and Devin Townsend.
Oh, yeah.
That sort of thing. And I tell you what, Roscoe, I used to have the girls chasing me back then. I don't know what it was, but maybe because they were all Devin Townsend fans. But
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty brave, though.
Yeah.
That's a brave look. Because you've got to own it. You've got to own it.
I owned the shit out of that, man.
Yeah.
Made sure of it. I was just like, well, I've got nothing else going for me, so...
Well, it's funny how... It's funny how things change, though, like, because when I'm out in town, like, I'm in different get-up all the time. Yeah. Like, if I've just come from work, hair's in a ponytail.
Yeah.
Usually in a suit.
Yeah.
And I ran into someone today. I was playing pool with them.
Yeah.
At the Cow, big shout out, give me a free drink. So I was at the Cow playing pool, and I was wearing what I'm wearing now, and he's like, "Man, you're hard to recognise, bro."
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean? What the fuck's happened? Did I shave my beard? Because sometimes when people say that I've shaved my beard,
yeah,
I go, "Oh, you look younger when you shave your beard."
Of course.
It's like, no, I've just never seen you like in full bogan before.
Yeah, right.
Like, I don't know if that's a compliment or not. Is that a compliment? Because you're owning it.
That is, I tell you what, being in Penrith, that is a compliment.
That is a compliment. I go, oh, all right. I'm a bogan that's owning it.
Have you lived in Penrith your whole life?
No. No. I grew up in Campbelltown.
Yeah, right.
Back in the rough era of Campbelltown. It's a bit different now.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the head on that.
That's a lot of head.
That's a lot of head.
That's
Jesus.
a great pour there, man.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Is it the best head you've had?
Yeah. I do this every show. I'll top this up for you.
All good. Rock and roll.
Yeah. I don't know why that happens to me. I don't know. I didn't do any
I'm
bar
a terrible
course.
pourer too. Don't worry. Like that's, I am the worst pourer of beers.
Yeah. Well, no. I grew up in Campbelltown. Then I moved. I lived in Victoria for a year.
Yep.
Then I was in Queensland for 5-6 years.
Jeez, you've been around.
And then I was in Perth for 6 years.
Yeah.
And I've been in Penrith for over 10 years now.
Yeah, right.
So Penrith is the longest place I've ever lived.
Yeah, cool.
Except for my childhood.
Yeah, of
I
course.
guess.
Yeah.
But another 7 years, I'll overtake that.
So you got a bit of life experience happening right now.
Yeah, well, I even recognise it in my accent.
Yeah.
Um,
I've noticed that too sometimes when you're speaking. Like you've got a bit of
I've got bits of everything.
bits of everything happening. Yeah.
So I've got the metropolitan part of me,
Yes.
but I've got the rural part of me
Yeah.
as well, where you can really hear my Townsville accent.
I can hear the Townsville. Like, I was
It's-
going to say it's very country somewhere.
Yeah, it's very rural in nature.
Yeah.
And that's where, because I arrived there as a boy and I left there a man. So that really solidified the way I talk, I guess. But then you go to Perth, everyone speaks very proper.
Yes,
Everyone's
that's
very
true.
proper there. So then it cleans your voice up a little bit. And now I've got this hybrid, eloquent way of speaking, but she'll be right, mate, sort of attitude.
I've always wanted to visit Exmouth in WA. I've always wanted to go down there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's one place. It's on my bucket list. So
Yeah, Perth, WA is beautiful, man.
it is. Yeah,
It really is.
so big.
Oh yeah, it's massive. But when you look at even Perth, right? It's a city,
Yeah,
but it's like a country town.
yeah, right.
So it's got a metropolitan vibe,
Yep.
but a country feel.
Yeah, right.
So it's a really bizarre place.
Yeah.
It's similar to Brisbane in ways.
Yeah,
Brisbane has a bit of that country vibe, like
it does a
easygoing.
bit. Yeah,
But Perth is like fully easygoing.
yeah, right.
Like it's like if you've been to Brisbane and go, it's pretty easygoing here.
Yeah, I found it to be very easygoing.
It's about half of what Perth is, like
I've
double
never
that easygoing.
Never been to Perth before, so it's one place I'd love to go.
Beautiful place, man. It is different. It's very different. Like when you go to Melbourne, it's pretty much like Sydney, just with more rain.
Yeah, of course.
When you go to Brisbane, it's like Sydney with more sunshine. But when you go to Perth, it's literally it sometimes feels like a different country.
Yeah, right.
It's just totally different.
Yeah.
There's still you still hear the Australian accent there, but it's a little bit different. And and as well, like because I've been around a bit, you realise that there are different accents around Australia.
Yeah.
And because we would take the piss out of the English, right? Because you've got someone from North London,
Yeah.
right? Someone's really rough and gruff,
Rough,
and then
yeah.
you've got the south of London who are very proper and polite.
And you got people from Minto.
Yeah, no, Minnow.
Minnow.
Minnow,
Minnow.
mate. Minnow. Yeah. So, yeah, but it's the same in Australia. Like, if you look at England, right, all these dialects, well, not dialects, but accents,
Yeah.
started out of these regions. And it's
Yep.
happened over thousands of years.
That's true.
Or 1,000 years or so. I can't, maybe need to look up my history there. But in Australia, we're only 200 years old. And the Australian accent is only about 100 years old, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because before that, it was an Irish accent or an English accent.
That's true. Yeah.
So you'd have, and as well, first Australians as well, Aboriginal accents, speaking English. So there was another accent in there.
Yep.
And when you amalgamate all those things together, that's where we're at now.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what our accent is. But I was bidding people out because I was talking to a friend last night actually about corruption,
Yeah.
government corruption, because it's bloody shocking. Government corruption's shocking. I'm like, what do you mean, man? He's like, yeah, no, well, people get, getting backhanders and brown paper bags full of money when they shouldn't be getting them. I go, hold on. Gold Coast. What's his name? Elkie Peterson.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That whole place was built on corruption. The rail, the roads, the buildings. Everything was built on corruption there. And now look at it. Looks all right.
It looks amazing.
Looks all right. It didn't turn out too bad. But let's go back further, man. Like the first Parliament House in Sydney,
Yeah.
and the first hospital was built off the illegal rum trade.
There you go.
So the Parliament building itself
It's built on corruption.
is built on corruption.
Yeah.
It's totally corrupt. It
Well,
always was.
I did not know that. That's
Yeah,
cool.
but isn't it interesting though?
Yeah, yeah.
I find this stuff fascinating. And it's all we have a gambling culture, a drinking culture
Yes,
in
that's
Australia, a drug culture in Australia, which is more of the undertone of what's going on.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
There's corruption everywhere when you think about it. It's like everywhere you look.
and then you go, well, and then you start to go, well, what's my definition of corruption?
Yeah.
Maybe the Catholic Church, I would say that's more corrupt.
Yeah.
In that nature, where there's victims at the end of that, and that have they've been hurt physically,
Yes.
That's corrupt, and people
That's
covering
corrupt, yeah.
that up. That's fucking corrupt.
And money laundering as well. There's a lot of that.
But when you're building things and you're getting the workforce going,
Yeah.
then you can go, well, what's the difference between because you go, well, that's a scam, right?
Yeah.
That's a scam. And I've heard people say, I don't like this word scam. Well, what do you mean? And they would go, it's just business, man.
Yeah.
And you go, well, that resonates a little bit. Building the first hospital needed to be built.
Yeah, exactly.
The English didn't have any money because we were taking all of their money by selling them rum, right? So, which is ironic if you think about it, because the English would rock up to different countries and colonise it and put a whole bunch of alcohol into the populace to, degrade the natives,
Yeah.
and then capitalise on their suffering, right?
Yeah,
that was their model. And when they came to Australia, we've got all these Irishmen over here that are convicts starting to make rum, but they made rum illegal.
Yes.
But by making it illegal, empowered the Irish to then sell rum to the English. Because the English were ignorant to the fact of, well, we made it illegal, but Englishmen drink rum as well.
That's right.
That's a really cool story, though.
Cheers to corruption.
Yeah, cheers to corruption.
Cheers to corruption.
To decent corruption.
Decent corruption.
corruption.
Yeah, not the bad stuff.
That's what I mean. There's a different... You've got to look at the definition of it.
Yeah.
When you zoom out from it, who were when you look at corruption, who were the losers? And I think if you have a really short list of people that really weren't that affected, I go, well, it just seems like there was an economic issue rather than like the Catholic Church, for instance. Like there's massive repercussions of that. You got victims, and you've got and war is a racket, man.
Yeah.
When they go to wars and blow the shit out of places, like that's a racket. Like, there's a body count.
Yes.
To that destruction.
Absolutely.
I go, that's fucking corrupt.
Yeah.
That's fucking super
Big
corrupt.
time.
But trying to get a promoter to come to Western Sydney and Penrith, and making sure that they have a good night.
That's right.
Is just appealing. It's not a corrupt. So hopefully, anyone's out there listening, we need a promoter for Penrith, all right?
And you better be corrupt.
Correctly corrupt.
Correctly corrupt.
Yes. Yeah. But man, you've got a bit of history in radio. You were doing radio for what was it, 12 years or something?
Yeah. So I started in 2001. Actually, I was doing a show with a mate. It was a hardcore punk show, and I was doing this back in high school. So we were doing that for about 6-7 months, and we had a bit of an argument going on because I wanted to push more of the heavier side of things, and he wanted to push more of the hardcore punk side of things. So it was just like, well, I said, sorry, man, I can't be involved in this. And so he started his own show, and I took over our show.
Okay.
And
what station was this on?
Swire FM.
Swire FM, okay.
SWR FM in Blacktown. So, awesome station, awesome people, and it's great to see that station still going. They're doing very well at the moment. So,
yeah, cool.
I want to give a shout out to Dave Calles.
Big shout out, Dave.
Dave, good old Dave. He's been pushing that station so goddamn well at the moment. So he's been doing the show. He's been doing his Twilight Zone show for years now. So, he's been pushing that station as well. So,
yeah, good
on him. Yeah, so I ended up doing the show on my own. And going, geez, what am I supposed to do now? How far can I push this? So I just grabbed out the white pages. Remember the good old white pages? Looked up Sony.
Of the old man's internet.
Yes. Looked up Sony, BMG, Universal, all those big labels, and I rang them myself and said, hey, I'm Matt. I do a metal radio show called Beneath Remains. Just wondering who looks after the publicity and promotions for heavy metal.
Yeah, cool.
And they put me through to the person. And we just exchanged emails, and all of a sudden I was getting interviews with Static X, Fear Factory, all these like
awesome,
all these massive bands and stuff, and AFI as well. When the AFI were like the biggest thing, like they're a bit more emo-y, but that was a big interview for me. When I'm getting to the motel room and there's about 100 screaming girls outside, and they asked who I was and told them, and all the girls like, oh, who is he? Who's he? And trying to get in.
Bit of notoriety. It's always fun.
Yeah, big bouncers like. Try to stop all these screaming
no autographs
16-year-old girls from coming in. So that's how I used to do it back then, and it was different to what it is now. Like this now is much easier. You know, you can just inbox someone.
Inbox totally. Someone. Sorry, if you like though. Hey, can you hold it there for a second? I just got to go pee.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, I'll be back.
Yep.
Sorry guys.
That's all good.
I broke the seal.
Uh-oh.
That's the note for peeing.
Roscoe needs to wee. Anyway. stuck here on my own now. Just talking to myself. How you doing, Matt? I'm good.
Yeah, just do the podcast by yourself.
This is Mel Matt here on Beneath the Remains, taking you through for 6 p.m. tonight, playing the best and the heaviest stuff around. I missed all that. Right now, this is Slipknot with Wait and Bleed. Give us a call on 9676 free
Promote anything. Promote anything quickly.
Make sure you listen and actually make sure you watch Couch Surfing with Metal Matt. Just go onto YouTube, search it up, subscribe, please. We're slowly creeping up with subscriptions at the moment. I want to see at least 100 or 200 subscriptions. Come on, get into it. Support Matt. He's been supporting you guys for years. Come on, do it.
You guys on about?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Just talking about Barbie dolls and Alf.
You're talking about Barbie dolls?
Yeah,
We went from radio to Barbie. Okay.
absolutely. Anyway, what we're saying. Oh, yes.
Yeah, so 12 years in radio.
Yeah, so I'm just saying how much easier it is now to like email people or just inbox people and add people on Facebook and just the communication is much more easier. It was a lot harder back then when I was doing radio.
Yeah, totally.
I will admit it was very, very hard. I spent 2 or 3 days just scoping out different labels. I don't even know how I got most of these labels backing me up. It was crazy. I was just young and all vibrant back then. Yeah, when you have the passion and you keep going, ooh, music, yeah.
Yeah, the drive and no fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, I could have become a sports science teacher, but I chose a career in music.
Yeah.
So I was at that point in my life in year 12, where I done really well in my HSC, and they were
You're one of the rare ones.
yeah. I've lost a lot of brain cells since then. I tell you that. But I was a little bit of a smart cookie. I'm not going to talk myself up, but yeah, I got to the point where they were really pushing. They were actually going to pay me to go to uni.
Yeah, okay.
Save it, and I said, look, I'd love to, but my passion lies in music because I knew how focused I was on the radio show. Because a lot of the stuff I was doing back in year 11 and 12, like doing scoping out all these interviews and going to a lot of local shows as well. I used to make my own flyers as well and just go listen to my radio show. Yeah,
you got to promote.
yeah. That was how I used to do it back then. So just
What's how you did it? There was no Facebook.
Nah, well that was the Facebook back then. So just print out flyers and talk to your mate who does all the printing, get him to just write out whatever and just hand it out. Beneath the Remains from 6 to 8 p.m.
Yeah, isn't it strange though? Like when we used to back in the day, because you do the same in bands, right? Like in the early 2000s, to get people to your gig, you'd have to go walk the streets around bars.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go, hey, this Friday night, because it might be a Wednesday night, and you go out to see people. Go, hey man, if you're into heavy metal, there's a show on this Friday night, $10 entry. If you bring this flyer with you, you'll get a free beer or whatever.
That was the way to do it back then too, because you didn't have much happening. You had obviously the drum media and stuff, but then again, that was like.
But you're only going to capture. Only your music head, the full music heads. But to get the people that go, oh man, go see a show. I don't know what to do, but I like metal, and there's nothing ever on.
Yeah.
And you want to capture those people as well.
Yes, absolutely.
With that said, though, playing uni bars was always the best because you just go to university and you'd hand out flyers and they would go really quick.
Yeah. Because all the just young kids, man, just
they go, well, we want to go drink beer and we want to see bands.
Yeah, that's it. Actually, uni bars is the way to go. To be honest, like Herman's Bar as well.
Yeah, I played Herman's Bar. I played Herman's Bar with. It was the first gig of Mendoza. Actually, was at Herman's Bar.
How long have Mendoza been around for?
7 years. I've been in that band, which is a long time for a band.
That is a long time for a band, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, even the band before that was 5 years. I was in that band. Most bands I've been in the last 3 years. Yeah, they because people move, they have kids, or there's some sort of falling out, or
and that's the average life cycle for a band is about 3 to 4 years. To be honest, even watching bands over the years, there's 3 to 4 years max, and then something happens, like the singer sleeps with the guitarist's girlfriend or whatever, or
something like that.
Something might happen, Just using that as a
I may have walked down a few of these paths before.
Ooh.
Whoops. Well, some people, also started experimenting with heroin and whatnot, and that's the end of that.
That's when drugs start coming into it too, and
you got sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And sometimes it's not good when they all mix.
No.
So, but when you're young, you do stupid things, and but look, as I said, like I've been accosted by other people that I'm forming a band with at the moment.
Yes.
And other members have as well.
Yeah.
But we've just gotten older, and we're like, oh well, that was the past, and this is now. We just want to make music.
Yeah, well, that's cool. Yeah.
And sometimes you get that. But where was I going about Alpha Degenerate? What were we talking about? Herman's Bar. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we played with a popular Penrith band, Whiskey Smile.
Whiskey Smile, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome guys, man. I saw you interviewed Gareth.
Gareth, yeah.
Yeah, Gareth's an awesome dude, man. He is
Yeah,
one of
man.
the coolest guys.
Oh, fucking talented dude.
He is a very
Yeah,
talented
super. Big shout out, Gareth. So I have to remember the name of the band that he's in at the moment. It's doing really well though.
Ooh,
Slips my mind.
jeez, I should know this.
I should know this.
Yeah.
Like I was only talking about this band like a week ago as well.
Don't know why I thought Bastardizer. It was not Bastardizer.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not
it's not like
Bastardizer.
no, but it's more of a real artsy band. So it's this goth sort of like a theme that they run.
Do they have a female?
No, it's not them.
No.
There was the other band that we played with that night, which is also from Penrith Blue Mountains area, which was called wasn't the Butterfly Effect. That wasn't them. Oh, now I've lost the name of that. That just eluded me because now I'm trying to find this other name for this other band.
Yeah.
But we had an awesome night there with Whiskey Smile and what was the other band that we used to play with? Carney Meat was another one from
Carney
Penrith.
Mate. Yeah, I think I've heard them before.
Yeah.
Carney
Yeah.
Mate.
Yeah. They were from. We've played with those guys a few times. I've played with those guys in different bands. Same with Whiskey Smile.
Yeah.
We played with them as Alpha Degenerate, and we played with them as Mendoza.
Yeah, right.
But they were a long-standing band as well. They would have lasted like 6-7 years.
Jeez.
They were around for a long time.
Yeah.
Like if you look at most of my band posters up there,
Yeah, I
Whiskey
was
Smile.
telling Pete before.
Yeah. They're on there. Whiskey Smile's on there.
Yeah, cool.
So they were like we opened for them and they opened for us. It was kind of a tit for tat.
Yeah.
And we liked each other because they would promote like we would promote.
Yeah.
Because you want to get people to your show.
Yes.
And some people that you put on your bill, they don't promote. They're just going to hop on the bill.
Yeah.
And then they expect a fair share. I'm like, you didn't do any promotion, man.
You really get what you give. That's the thing. So
yeah, exactly.
you got to work for your money, man. You can't just sit around and just go, oh, look, the headline bands, they'll do it all. They'll do it.
No, it's shit show.
Sit back,
Well, see, I'll do all the graphics. So I'll do the poster, and I'll even do video promotions.
Yeah, right.
Because as a filmmaker, I can do video promotions for the show.
Yeah.
So I'll do all of that, and some guys won't even share it. Like, just share the post, man.
That's all it takes.
Trying to get bums on seats here.
Yeah.
But look, sometimes you get exhausted as a band. You exhaust your crowd, unless you go on tour. That's why you got to go on tour.
Yeah.
Because you got to go get a new crowd.
That's right.
But as well, like the new band that we're forming at the moment, we're more Spotify focused. We're like, don't care about shows, just want to write music that people dig.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think of Spotify? Like, what's your opinion on Spotify?
That's a weird beast.
'Cause what I hear too is the artists don't get a fair cut.
Oh,
no.
No. It's
I'll be
like
honest.
0.06 cents if you qualify.
As a music fan, I think Spotify is absolutely incredible. I've discovered so many goddamn new bands. I'm on this folder called New Metal Tracks, like NEW Metal Tracks.
Yeah, as in new metal, yeah.
Yeah, they dump all these new tracks every Friday. There's like 20, 30 new tracks, and I've discovered all these bands. I'm like, man, where was this? This shit should have been around when I was a kid, like instead of like listening to Triple J and having to stay up till like God knows what time.
Yeah, you'd have to go looking for it.
Yeah.
Before Spotify, I agree with you. You'd have to go looking for music.
Yeah.
But Spotify, it comes to you.
What was good about doing radio, at one point in radio, I was getting about 60, 70 CDs sent to me a week when I was like quite big, and this is from like labels and all these local bands. I don't even know how these bands heard of the show, but I was getting all this stuff sent out to me and stuff, and that was my way of discovering a lot of new music too back then. So it was helpful. Thank Christ for radio, man.
Yeah, man. Well, but again though, like I've listened to bands from Western Sydney and Sydney that are fucking top notch.
Yeah.
And they're nowhere to be found.
Yes,
Like you just it's not just about talent. You got to be a bit lucky as well.
absolutely.
Like there's a band I've been listening to. It was about a year ago. I was listening to them. Henry's Anger.
Oh, Henry's Anger, a mad band.
Mad band.
I have not heard that name in a long time.
Yeah, but what an awesome band! Like
Yeah.
both of the albums, I think one was called The Blackening.
Yeah.
And the other album, eluding me there. But both of those albums were fucking top notch, man.
Yeah.
Well produced, clean as a whistle.
Jeez, I've been in a band since high school.
Yeah.
Henry Zanger, I've not heard that name. It's like Headmess too. Do you remember a band called Headmess?
Yeah, I remember that band. Yeah.
They're like an Aussie sort of like stompy friggin' metal band, like Hatebreed sort of.
Yeah, but you get to a point where you can't expand any further unless you tour.
Yeah,
And
that's
if
right.
you're going to get on tours, and I imagine like it's like any other job you get. Like it's not what you know,
It's who you know.
it's who you know.
Yeah, that's right.
And unless the right person was in the crowd, so you can get that established.
Yes.
Then you once you come to the point of expansion, you can't expand anymore
No, that's right.
because you've exhausted your audience. And that's what I was, going back to bands that don't advertise.
Yeah.
And there's a part of my brain I go, I know why you're not sharing that post is because you've already flooded your market. And
Yes.
you can't get your fans there because they've watched your show 3 times this year.
Yeah.
Like you can only expect your fans in one region to come to your show so many times.
100%. Yeah.
But with that, I do miss bill hopping. I used to be a good bill hopper, hop between bills.
Did you?
Yeah, man, just play
I've
every week.
done it a few times too. Like
Yeah.
just with going to different gigs and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, you just go to different. You just end up on different bills. Like the key is don't headline.
Yeah.
If you want to be a successful band in Sydney, don't headline.
No.
Which is a weird concept.
How many gigs have you done in one night? What's the most you've done?
Oh, in a night. I've only ever done one in a night.
Mm.
I've never done a double gig in a night, but the most I've done in a week is 3.
Yeah, right.
And the most I've done in a year would be about 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember with band interviews in particular, the most I've done was 5 in 2 hours.
There's a lot.
That was a lot. And they were all just jam-packed. I was like, please call. And they were all live. There was no pre-record. Stupid me, organising a Metal for the Brain special. I'm excited. I'm like, I'm the only metal radio show happening at this time. You know, I'm going to try and get all of them. And then I was just like, oh, shit. I think I've just like overstacked myself. So I only played like 4 free songs,
Yeah.
and all the rest was just interviews. You know, in 2
Yeah, but that's
hours.
good though because that's pre-podcast, right?
Yeah.
That's some long-form content.
This is and I've got it on mini disc actually. I recorded this on mini disc. Remember mini disc?
Yeah, man, I love the mini disc.
I've got a shitload at home, man. I've got to go through. I don't know if you got a converter or something like that here.
No, I can't convert it. But I'll tell you what though about mini discs because when I started playing in bands in the late 90s,
Yeah.
the way that we record our sessions with a tape deck
Yes.
in the corner with a towel over it.
Yeah. Right.
Because if you didn't put the towel over the mic capture, it would just
Or just like
the bass drum would just like clean it out.
Yeah. Of
Put a
course.
towel over it, it'll muffle the sound hitting it, and you can get a nice clean recording out
Yeah.
of it.
Right. That's quite clever.
So then we would then I'd take the tape. I'd have to take the tape home, make 4 copies of it, and then distribute that to the band and go listen to this so that we can improve our next session.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
And then mini disc happened.
Yeah.
And mini disc was awesome. Love mini disc because it was easier to duplicate at the time.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have to record it in real time. You could just transfer the data.
Just transfer. That's how it was. Yep. That's how it was back
And the
then.
recorder, because you get this little box rather than a big recorder.
Yeah.
You get this little box, and I didn't need to put a towel over or anything. You just face the mic away from the set, just face it to the wall.
That's right. Yep.
It's such a good recorder, and it got the bottom end as well. So it was really good at the capture. It did a really good job of capturing. And then we moved from mini disc to we were at Zen Studios in Petersham.
Yep.
Big shout out to the guys at Zen. You guys do a great job.
Absolutely.
It's also a good hang because you run into other bands
Yeah.
and you organise bills.
Yeah.
So it's a good social contact as well. But they were really cool because they had 2 room mics and then they would have a CD-ROM.
Yeah.
So then you'd burn your shit to CD.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was the first time that I could be at a jam session where I could distribute 4 or 5 CDs after we just recorded it.
God, how cool is that?
That's really-
that's mad.
Like, but now you think about it, you go, how rudimentary. What a waste of time.
Yeah.
Because now I just put it online.
Yeah.
Because now that's what we do now with SoundCloud.
SoundCloud especially, yeah.
And SoundCloud especially, but do you know what? Actually, I do it on YouTube now.
Do you?
Yeah,
Good man. That's just very smart.
yeah. Because then you just put the audio recording to YouTube, and then you can share the private link,
Yeah.
and then create a playlist. So then you got your new set list, and as you go through your YouTube, you then go, oh, we've dumped that song, so remove the song.
That's
And then you go, well, we've got a new recording of this song. Remove the old one, replace it with that one.
Do a lot of bands do that? I'm not too familiar with
I'm not sure. I know a lot of guys use Bandcamp and they use SoundCloud.
Yeah.
And I imagine they do it the same way that we do it. And you just put up your session recordings or put up your ideas, and then you feed off those ideas and then bring them to session. And then once you've got a song banged out, then you may decide to record it even.
Yeah. Bandcamp's amazing for bands. I think it's absolutely incredible. There's some good bands out there at the moment, and they're really pushing their stuff. Like a lot of local bands at the moment pushing their stuff, especially this band here. I want to give a shout out to Nicolas Cage Fighter. They're a
Nicolas
band.
Cage Fighter. That's a fucking awesome name, dude.
I only discovered this band recently, right? In the last, when did the EP come out? It came out 2 months ago. Mm-hmm. This band's blown me away. This is like, I miss this shit. I can't describe it. It's just
Well, they like a thrash metal or
yeah. And they're just like really intense.
You can tell by the name, Nicolas Cage Fighter.
Yeah.
Sounds like thrash metal.
So they're playing too. They're playing in June in Sydney. They're from Ballarat. So they sent me this beanie, or I pay for it, obviously. I'm just cool to pay for shit, man, instead of getting them sent me, because I want to support the artist.
You got to support the artist.
Keep supporting them.
Oh, merch is one of the best ways you can support an artist.
Yeah.
And that merch is as well. Like we will take like our EPs and albums, and people will buy them. But you can just easily listen to it on Spotify.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I like the idea of the collectible. And, you know, because you put effort into the artwork of your cover.
Yes,
it's
that's
not
true.
just about the CD, it's about the art itself.
Yep.
So I like selling that, but obviously T-shirts are one of the best.
Yes.
Selling shirts at a gig is really good. So I always go to a gig and I buy a shirt.
Do you buy a lot of vinyl? Are you a vinyl collector?
No, I've been dying to get into it though because I'm a vinyl fan.
Yeah, I've got a lot into it in the past few years. My vinyl collection's gotten quite big. Something about the sound of vinyl now is it's a lot different.
It's analog nature.
Yeah.
It has a randomness to it. Like, don't get me wrong, the songs are organised and they have the proper arrangements.
Yeah.
But it's just the sound that it outputs. This analog sound that it outputs is just superior.
Yeah.
And there's more clarity.
That's right.
More bottom end. Like, I would actually compare a mini disc to vinyl. Yeah. Mini disc.
Good comparison, that one, actually.
Yeah, like you look at the mini disc, the sound that you get out of that, I would say it's like its diet cousin of vinyl.
Yeah, that's right.
Because when you listen on tape, you go, well, this is clearly a tape.
Yeah.
And when you listen to things digitally, you go, this is clearly digital.
Yeah.
Like there's certain...
You can hear different sorts of sounds.
And as well, and the system that you put it through.
Yeah.
So most of us listen to music on headphones now.
Yes, that's true.
But when I run it through my big speakers, that's a different experience.
Yeah.
My neighbours know it well.
Yeah.
They know what music I listen to.
Yeah, do they? Do they like the heavy stuff around here? Or they...
They
You're in Cranebrook. Everyone should be listening to metal around here.
they've definitely heard
It's
me.
like the metal.
Well, because I'll sing along, or I'm doing my own shit as well.
Yeah.
So I'd be working on my stuff in here. This is where I work. This is my studio.
Yeah.
So I do all my recordings in here because that's the thing. That just getting back to how bands interact with their session recordings. You know, we went from tape to mini disc to CD, and now it's just recorded on an iPhone.
Yes.
Uploaded immediately. Like bang. Don't have to even give it to anyone. You just go, here's the link, put it in the chat room.
It never used to be like that. It never used to be
Fucking
like that.
immediate.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. The only thing that the thing that gets challenging is the order of which you record things.
Yes.
Because if you do it like you can be lazy and go, I'll just record the entire session. Mm-hmm. And then when you do that, it turns out that it's not so lazy because then you've got to go and pick out all of the gold from that recording.
Yeah.
So you can't put the hour session up. You've got to pick out the gold.
Yeah, the right things, yeah, of course.
So what I'll do in a session is I go, we're about to do a record, and then I'll push record, and I keep a little notebook.
Yeah.
And then I'll write the file name down and go, that was the good one.
Yep.
And then I go, all right, so now I've got 3 tracks, upload to YouTube, here's the link.
Yeah.
I can do that before we leave the jam room.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's mad.
Yeah, but man, like talking about interviewing bands because that's how I got into the game as well for TV. That's the first thing I was doing was interviewing bands.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. What were you doing?
I was working for TBS. So
right. Oh, interesting. I used to watch a lot of TBS when I was younger.
Yeah, you were Underground Sound.
Yeah, dude. And there was this. I used to watch this. There was this talk show woman. I don't know who she was.
Joy.
It might be her. She was an old lady.
Joy's World. Joy's World. Party time. Excellent.
we used to pay her out so much. Me and my flatmate. We used to get
She's a
so-
lovely woman. I've met her. She's
She-
passed away now.
Oh,
But
fortunately, she's getting on a little bit.
man, she
I
did.
saw her.
I know 30 years. 30 years in TV.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, man. 30 years in community TV.
Jeez.
Yeah, Joy was hard as coffin nails, man. She was a solid woman.
I don't know. It was by accident we discovered TV.
Lovely lady.
On this old TV I had back in like 2003 when I moved out of home. I was living in Seven Hills. We had this old TV, and we went. He goes, like, "What's this channel?" Like he found TVS on this channel. And I just got so hooked on it. Like it was just, I loved the whole community thing because I'm doing community radio. I got so much into it.
No, yeah.
That's how I discovered Underground Sounds. Was on late at night and stuff. And
I produced a lot of content for TVS.
yeah, have you?
Yeah, I was
Man.
the station manager.
Yeah, fantastic.
I used to run it.
Yeah, right.
I used to run
Probably
TVS.
about the time when I was watching it, maybe. Or,
What year were you watching it?
2003, 4, 5.
No, it would have been 7. They started in 2006,
It
I
was
think.
2006, was it?
Yeah, 2006 they started, and I took over
Maybe it
in
wasn't-
2011. Because I was the
2000s. When was I living there? It must have been 2000s. Yeah, sorry. No, excuse me. I was
You've gotten beyond your years, Matt. You've forgotten.
I'm stuck in this era right now. Because I'm talking about radio. It's just something in my head.
A whole bunch of beer and fresh air overtake,
a
right?
lot of fresh,
A lot of fresh
A
air.
lot of fresh air back in my early 20s. And plenty of diet water. I kept it very healthy back then.
Yeah, no, it would have been.
But sorry, it would have been about 2007.
I imagine
My
it would have been
apologies.
2007.
My apologies, because I just remember I was dating this girl
Well,
back then, and we used to watch Underground Sounds there. So
Well, I only know that because I interviewed a guy a couple of weeks ago. Big shout out to Ryan Couchy, a filmmaker
Yeah, right,
that's in Made in the West. And as he was on the show, I'm like, he goes, "Yeah, TVS, you ever heard of that?" And I go, "Yeah, I used to work there, man." He goes,
Yeah.
"So did I." Turns out he was my predecessor.
yeah, right.
So he was running it from 2007, no, maybe 2008 to
Yeah.
2010, and then I got into it at about 2011.
What happened to TVS? Like,
Sad story. It got cancelled by the government for no reason. And to be really clear, TVS didn't receive any funding.
yeah,
It was self-sustainable,
of course, yeah.
so it wasn't government funded.
No.
It wasn't about a budget cut.
Nope.
So when you go to do a TV station, you need two things, two main things before you can eat, before your equipment, before your content. You need
Yep.
two main things.
Yeah,
There's a broadcast license, the
Yes.
right to do so, the legal right to do so,
yeah, of course. Yeah,
and an apparatus license.
yeah, right.
And the apparatus license means what tower do you transmit out of.
Oh, okay, okay.
So you need to have an agreement with the transmission company
Yes.
to distribute the content.
The content, yeah.
And they cancelled the leases on apparatus licenses for community TV for no reason. It was really sad. They in the Senate, because I followed it very closely because I was very passionate about it.
Yeah.
I even went to Parliament. We went to Parliament with this shit. We're
Yeah.
going, this is it was literally unconstitutional what
Of
they
course,
did.
yeah, yeah.
It was unconstitutional. They actually they broke the law
Yeah.
in cancelling us. There's no fiduciary, or another way to put it, financial reason to cancel us. There's no reason to cancel it. The only reason is that they specified, they go, we need this, because it's called spectrum. So on the spectrum of TV, you've got so many channels.
Yeah.
It's like visual sight. You know how you can see everything from ultraviolet to orange.
Orange, yeah.
And that's the colour spectrum?
Yep.
Well, it's the same in TV. There's a whole bunch of radio spectrum.
Yeah, okay.
And we would sit on this frequency.
Yeah, of
Right?
course. Yep.
And we sat on the frequency right next to SBS. So the next channel after TVS is SBS.
Yep.
Right? We used to sit on the same, I think it was a 0.5 gigahertz difference between us and SBS. Because sometimes you get cross-phasing. You could, like, it would go between SBS and TVS.
Yeah, you get the,
if you're not tuning your TV right.
I remember that too.
Yeah.
We found TVS. I remember, like, it was yeah.
It'd be a bit of cross-phasing
Yep.
because we go this channel, and then you got to like hone it towards it, and then you got the channel, right?
Yep.
Well, that's how close on the spectrum we were to SBS.
Jeez, man.
And they cancelled our ability to transmit. Didn't cancel our license.
Yeah.
Cancelled our right to transmit.
Yeah, right.
It's just fucking weird. Channel 31 in Melbourne's still running, and Channel 44 in Adelaide's still running.
That's so unfortunate it's not running here in Sydney. That's really, really sad. And no reason.
No reason, man. Look, and in the set of estimates, they said there's only 52 people employed in this industry, and I'm going, how inaccurate that is. Like, they counted all of us operators, the people that work at the station.
Yeah.
So if you calculate everyone around Australia from Darwin, Channel 44
40,
Brisbane, Channel 44 Sydney, 31 Melbourne, 44 Adelaide, and I think it's 34 in Perth.
Yep.
They're called West TV.
Yeah.
So calculate all those people that work at those TV stations, you'll come to a number at about 50.
Okay.
But how much shows were on TVS that you see?
Oh, it was
Fucking heaps.
Fair few, man. There was a fair few. It was really cool shows too. It wasn't just there was something for everyone. That's what I liked about TVS, and that's why I was saying to my old flatmates too. I said, "This is. I can spend all day watching this. I can spend my whole life watching this, and screw off, Channel 9 and 7, and just stick to the young guns, man."
It was very honest content.
It was,
and
the fishing shows were cool too, man.
Well, this is why I describe it to people. If people don't understand what TVS is, this is why I'll describe it to you.
Yeah.
It was a cable channel for free.
Yes.
But the channel was different every day.
Yes.
So we would have Man Monday.
Yes.
So that's where the fishing shows.
Yep.
4-wheel drive shows.
Remember that? Yes.
And then we'd have Women Wednesday.
Yes, I remember
So all
that
the
too.
sewing shows, things that are more feminine in nature, cooking shows.
Yeah.
Cake baking shows. I don't mean to stereotype. I'm not saying that, guys. I know that women fish, and I know that men cook. But I'm just saying, as a generic market point of view.
Just be careful in this PC world, man.
Yeah, I know. I have to put the disclaimer in there.
But you just be careful.
We didn't look at it as gender bias. We looked at it as a market, as an economical market, right? And then you'd have other days where you go, when you get the late night TV, we can put on the controversial stuff like Underground Sounds and Short Bites and all of these like.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah, all these short films that we'd put on, and of course
weird stuff there, man.
The schlocky horror picture show.
Yeah.
You remember the skeleton?
Oh yeah.
That Nigel Huntingbone.
Yes.
I had him on last week. I interviewed Nigel last week.
I gotta watch that actually.
Man, it's really you should watch that episode.
Yeah.
Man, he's 70 years old or 65 or whatever he is. He's older dude.
Yeah.
And when you talk to him, you think you're talking to a 25-year-old.
Really?
Yeah, man. He's and a wealth of knowledge. The amount of shit that man knows about movies will fucking blow your mind. Like,
I would love to sit down and talk about trauma with that guy, man.
But he raised TVS's ratings so high.
Yeah. So he was the reason why TVS got into that level.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of reasons.
Yeah.
But he was one of the stickouts.
Yeah.
Like, he was iconic. People knew him as a skeleton. They never saw him in person.
Yeah.
But they know his voice, and they know his puppet, and they know the content, and they know his scripts. They know the persona that he gave out. Because I was the voiceover guy for TVS for like 5 years.
It was really funny. I probably would have heard your voice.
Yeah, coming up next on Television Sydney.
Oh my god. What are you doing to me?
Yeah, I know. I'm spinning you out, right? But yeah.
Oh Jesus, this is weird.
But it's sad that they shut it down. It was because there was no reason for it, and to say that there was 52 people in that industry is just a lie, because all of that content that you see, all has a producer, a cameraman, a publicist. And I did my own calculation. I figured out, do you know how many people contributed to community TV before the fall? Well, they said 50. What do you think?
Oh, it'd be way more than that.
What, hundreds?
No, I'd go almost 1,000.
Thousands,
yeah.
So you're looking at about 3,000 people Australia-wide
that
they put to the wall. Fuck you and your projects. Fuck you and your dreams.
So that's where it stands. I think I know the reason why they shut it off, because they just want to focus on the big guns, man, and just get rid of the small.
Unregulated as well. It was unregulated voices. That's where my tinfoil hat comes into it. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about spectrum.
Yeah.
It wasn't about accessibility.
No.
It was about unregulated voices. Because when we did the news, because I was a news producer.
Yeah.
I do the TVS news.
I remember the TVS news too.
Yeah.
I was just watching TVS. I didn't care about the other channels, man. So
when you on Friday nights, if you saw the half-hour news session, I produced that.
Shit, dude.
So I do. We put the stories together, and we would do stuff. If the Labor Party fucked up, we'd report it. If the Liberal Party fucked up, we reported it.
You weren't biased. That's the thing.
Not at all.
Yeah, it's not like Sky News and all that stuff where it's just all they focus on.
Oh, there was one story we were biased on. Out of the hundreds and hundreds of stories we did, there was one story we were biased on, and it was from one of our sponsors. One of our sponsors did something shitty, and our reporter reported on it, and they brought the package back, and I had to report it to my bigger boss.
Yeah, right.
So I'm producing the content. I'm like, well, our sponsor would not like that.
No.
So I went to say to the boss, I go, you know how he told me to be fair and just and publish everything. I got this story. And he's like, don't publish that. I was like, that was the only time.
Yeah.
It's the only time that I got told not to publish a story.
Jeez.
The rest of the time it was...
All fine, but that was a different...
But we just didn't do negative stories, mate. We did positive stories as well. So, like, they're cutting a ribbon as school because they've opened a new music department. We would go and report that,
So you were supporting the community, man. Like,
Totally.
That's sad. It's sad saying stuff like that, man, from someone who supports even local artists and just supports the local community, man. It's sad to see a station like TBS just disappear like that. I always wondered
shame.
I wondered what happened to TBS because I was like, what the hell happened to it? It's just disappeared.
Yeah, it was a nothing.
It was weird.
It was a nothing. It was over nothing. It was literally over nothing.
I just remember like living at that whole house at Seven Hills. I got confused with the years because of drinking too much water.
Diet water.
Diet water.
Yeah.
It was just a station that I absolutely loved watching, man. I loved TBS. We discovered it by accident. It was just
as most do. Well, you would like this though, because when I took over, we to blow my own horn about it a bit about this, and the team that I worked with. It wasn't just me; it was the team that I worked with. We gave uniformity to the station. So when you turn on a TV station, you see the little Channel 9 logo.
Yes.
You're watching Channel 9.
Yeah, that's right.
With TVS, they changed the colour of the bug, and it was ambiguous.
Yeah.
So we made it one colour, same bug all the time.
Yes.
And all the supers we made match the colour scheme. So it didn't, even if the bug wasn't up, you'd know what channel you were watching straight away.
Yep.
All right? And we did that. And we had a viewership of about 100,000 per month, which is pretty good.
That's really good for a...
That's when it was doing shit.
Yeah.
That was when it was in the shit house. We took it from that to 400,000 a month. And
how sad is that?
and that's multi-million viewers a year.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot of viewers. That's a lot of money. Our advertising space went up and up and up because you're selling ads.
Yeah.
That's the whole business model. Is you have content, get eyes watching the content, and then the breaks of those content ads.
Yes.
That's the model.
100%.
That's the model. And we were increasing our market share.
Yep.
We were doing fair and just news. We were creating public access. We were creating job opportunities for people to get into the industry.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine community radio is the same, right?
It's exactly the same thing. So there's all these new jobs, new roles and stuff like that. I had to apply, and I was in competition with a few people.
It's terrible. Look what I've done to you.
That's right. I was in competition with a few people. It's probably the best out I've had in a while. I was in competition to find this one slot I wanted. It was 8 to 10 p.m. on a Tuesday night, like the perfect night and stuff. And I was in competition for like 20 other people for this segment. And for some reason, they gave me this spot because this suits the medal.
Yeah.
So
it's to the market.
Yeah.
When they're listening.
Yes, exactly.
You got to go when they're listening. Because then you got your drive time commute, right?
Yes.
And when you're on your drive time commute and it's 8 in the morning,
yep,
you might not want to hear Pantera.
No. I'll tell you something funny here.
Although I used to have that as an alarm. Southern, what was it? Great Southern Trendkill?
Great Southern Trendkill, yeah.
Where Suicides Part 1.
Suicide Part 1.
That was my alarm to wake up in the morning.
Oh, what way to wake up. That's a way to wake up. I used to do a breakfast show on Swire FM. They gave me a breakfast show on there for a while, and they booed me off it.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know. I done it right. I got a few interviews. So I interviewed Tam and Sursock from Home and Away. Ended up again with the white pages.
Yeah, the old man's internets.
Yeah, it was weird that way. I had to go through like 12 different people to get through to the Home and Away segment.
Yeah,
the Home and Away section there, and it took ages to get the interview. Jabba from Jabba's Morning Glory, or Howzo's.
Yeah, but he was on Channel V.
Channel V, that's right.
V,
yeah.
but
Jabba's
the first
Morning
Galaxy
Glory.
and cable.
On Red.
On Red, that was it, yeah.
Because I remember Red, that was, Galaxy. Next door neighbours had Galaxy. It was like...
that was like late 90s, and then it... No, that was mid-90s.
Mid-90s. I remember, because when I was living back in this, I was like, Mum, why is it satellite dish? And they're rich, they got cable. I remember she used to say that. They're rich, they got cable. With only like 8 channels, by the way, back then. I think it was...
That was heaps, though.
Galaxy had more than 8, or was it more?
No, it was more than 8. It was about 20.
20, yeah.
About 20 channels. But when you're on 3 channels, 20's a fucking lot.
Oh yeah, big time.
But then we went to Ozstar, I think it was, after that.
So, yeah, that's right.
Ozstar?
Ozstar.
Ozstar was 200 channels.
Remember Optus Vision? Optus Vision was good.
Yeah, I could never get the Optus Vision. They had 2 channels that I wanted and I couldn't get.
They're they had MTV on there too, and I just remember MTV back then in the 90s was awesome.
Yeah.
Just heavy stuff all the time. I used to go to my grandma's house just to, watch Optus Vision. Like, hi grandma, how are you? Can I watch TV?
I'm here to watch some TV.
Yeah,
I'm going to have some diet water.
diet water. Good old diet water.
Yeah.
jeez.
I had an opportunity to steal cable at one point in my life.
Yeah.
And I will admit this. People download shit.
Yeah.
Right? And that's their way of stealing content. The way that I used to steal content was I moved in this house that had a satellite.
Yes.
And I had a friend of a friend of a friend that could give me a box,
Yeah.
an illegal box, with a card in it that allowed you to pick up a transmission.
Yeah, right.
So I had all cable channels.
What
All of them.
Oh,
For nothing.
How? Well, this is like the cable guy gone wrong.
Yeah, man, this is awesome. And people, because when there was like big fights on, like big boxing matches,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
pay-per-view, I got all that. Got for nothing.
Oh my god.
It was awesome. Anyway, so I went away for 2 weeks, and the chick that I was living with at the time,
Yeah.
the cable went out, and what you had to do was just turn the box on and off again.
Yeah.
Voila. All
Of
right.
course.
She rang the cable company and said the cable's out, and they go, "You don't have cable."
Oh my god.
And then because what they can do, because they know where, because it's satellite, they can pinpoint the transmission.
Yes.
And then he blocked it. I get back and why was the cable out? She goes, well, I rang him up because it was out. I'm like, I don't have a cable account.
Oh my god.
When you rang him up and you dobbed me in,
Yes.
just turn it off and on again.
You think you're in trouble at all? Like,
No, they just blocked the signal.
Yeah.
They just blocked the signal, so I missed out on it. I got away for a good couple of years though.
That's really clever. That's really clever.
Yeah,
That's really
the
clever.
guy that did it for me was a really clever dude.
to do that, that's just like the ultimate. That's cool. That's stuff that I dreamed of as a kid, man. To be doing that stuff.
Oh man, that would have been like a $200 a month package. Like that was.
Oh, 100%.
Like,
Well, back then, yeah.
Well, I had the porn channel, everything. I had everything. Free porn. Well, this is like before, like, Pornhub.
Yeah. They have a lot of softcore stuff there on
Yeah.
on Foxtel.
Yeah, it was all the softcore stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'd chuck a party and put it on a projector and put it in the background.
Yeah.
What is this guy doing?
I wish I was at your parties, eh?
Yeah, we're having a good time, man. Like, is that porn? Like, yeah, it's porn, man. I just did it to shock people.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not? Well, it wasn't hardcore. It wasn't like a double penetration. Covered in piss, fucking
No,
porn.
it's like Flint Bones sort of stuff. Like Flint Bones is like where you don't. Anyway.
Yeah, we're going too deep into this porn thing. Too deep.
I'm naming movies now.
I don't watch porn. I don't watch it actually.
No, that's,
I don't watch porn with my diet water.
No, are you sure?
Are you sure? Are you sure? Yeah, mate, I think we're really close to the end, actually, mate.
Are we?
Yeah, man.
We've been rambling.
We've been rambling. But your new show, Couch Surfing with Metal Matt. How do we
Yes.
find you?
Now you can subscribe to me on YouTube.
Yep.
Just type in Couch Surfing with Metal Matt. It'll come up there on the on YouTube. You'll see there. Just click subscribe. You can also find me on Facebook. Couch Surfing with Metal Matt. Just type that in. I'm only on those 2 platforms at the moment. Looking at setting up Instagram and other platforms, but they're my 2 main platforms at the moment. Please stay tuned to this. I've got some massive guests coming up. I'm looking to take this quite far. I'm looking at doing some remote interviews as well. So interviewing people outside my little sex couch. I've done a few Skype interviews as well from some bands. So that should be interesting to see how that takes off. But yeah, we'll just see how it goes. I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah, okay.
That's
There's your sales pitch, folks.
That's it.
So make sure that you check out Couch Surfing with Metal Matt on YouTube. I recommend getting out there onto your audio platforms as well.
Yes, absolutely.
I can talk to you about that after the show.
Yeah, please do.
It's really easy.
I'd be really keen.
It's
on that
super easy,
because
dude.
you're a master of that stuff. So I'm really
Yeah, man, I'm all over it.
yeah, good man.
Well, it's taken me a while. It didn't happen straight away. It happened incrementally. But just things converged.
Yeah.
That's how I ended up with the show. It just things converged.
Yeah.
It literally came out of nowhere. But it came off actually out of frustration about promoting artists and promoting people doing cool things.
Yeah.
And that's where it came out of. I'm like, well, I can do this.
Yeah,
I can do this.
You've done really well too. I'm really happy. I've been watching a few of your videos and stuff, and I really like them.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, the quality's absolutely incredible. So
Yeah, man, we do a good job, don't we, Wade?
make me look
we do all right.
pretty.
We do all right.
Make me look pretty.
We do all right. Yeah, we do all right. But
Just make me look pretty,
maybe you look beautiful.
please.
Maybe you look beautiful. Oh, man, look, well, thanks for being on the show.
Roscoe, it is my pleasure. Thank you for doing this. This is cool. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, awesome,
cool.
awesome.
I'm really that cable story was cool. I really like that story. I really do that story.
I've got a lot of stories like that. Maybe not all of them are appropriate for on air. But,
no, definitely not.
I
As long as you don't get in trouble for this, you have the
No, but no trouble. All honest fun and a little bit corrupt, but in a good way.
Exactly. Always a good way. Roscoe, you're a champion, right?
Yeah.
Absolute champion.
Yeah, thanks, Metal Matt. All right, so you've been watching the Pagey Train. If you've been having a good time on the show, you can find us on Spotify, you can find us on Apple iTunes, you can find us on iHeartRadio, and of course on YouTube. And if you've been enjoying the show, don't forget to click subscribe. Almost got through that all in one go. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and because every subscription helps. You guys have been watching the Pagey Train, and we'll see you next time. Man, I was a bit rickety through that ending there.
That
Shit. That was a bit rough, wasn't it?
No, that was cool. That was awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad I went to the pub before I did the show.
That was awesome. That was cool. You're just rambling, just talking. That was cool. I like the way you fucking do this, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah.